Hello everybody, my name is Travis the Tech Gamer, and today I bring you a project that I have been doing for quite some time right now. Kind of left it on the back burner simply because I have other things going on in my life at the moment, and this by any means is not the most important until now. So, the laptop that you see right now, other than what I have there, you're probably seeing, well, it's an Asus laptop, and given the logo, if you can see the logo, it's an ROG laptop. So what is it? And if it's an ROG laptop, is it actually any good? Well, ROG, or Republic of Gamers, is definitely Asus's baby. It is definitely their like top of the line anything when it comes to anything. So graphics cards is huge. Laptops are known to be pretty powerful and fast in today's time. So if we go back 10 years to 2010, and Q3 to be exact, 2010, so we're looking at, let me see, we're in November now, so this would be around Q4, so somewhere in August, I think from like August to September, or August to October, so maybe somewhere around there, this laptop was born, at least born into the world, and this, I'm surprised because the features that it has on the laptop itself is what you kind of see today, and it's some of those features are actually favorable by today's standards. So since this is a bulky laptop, I can only guess its weight is probably like close to 10 pounds, so to speak. Only because I'm not used to big laptops, I'm actually used to thinner lights and slim laptops. Those are usually, that's my preference, but as we see here, from what I've researched, this laptop has a 17.3 inch display. Yes, 17.3 inch. It's a pretty big display for laptops, and it's also it has LED backlighting, so it does alright. It's also at 1080p, so its resolution is the same resolution that we usually prefer to play games at today. If it had an operating system, it would have had Windows 7 Premium, and Windows 7 Premium is actually a 64-bit operating system, which lets us know that whatever's under the hood of this laptop is at least powerful enough to support a modern, by today's standards, a modern operating system. And speaking of which, under the hood we have for our processor. Now, as a side note, I personally don't know what's underneath this laptop, simply because I've never taken it apart, but again, from what I've researched, it should have a i7-740QM processor, which is a 4-core, 8-thread processor that can go ahead and ramp up to 2.93 gigahertz. And from what I've seen, it can also go up a little bit more. But I digress. It is a unique system in that sense, and with the graphics card, if you want to call it, the graphics card is a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 460M, and it has 1.5 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory. So I guess for 2010, that's actually pretty typical for a graphics card, because I believe you also had for its competition, at least in the graphics department, I think it's like 5780 or 5870, which was also a 1 gigabyte graphics card. So that makes sense. And of course, the games at that time were also not very taxing in terms of compared to today. So in terms of RAM, this would have been DDR3 for the generation, so it could go up to 8 gigabytes of not GDDR3. We're not talking about graphics again. This would have gone up to DDR3 memory, so that would have been 8 gigs. And I've seen in some forums that if you, depending on the processor you get, you could get up to 16 gigabytes of RAM, which, wink wink, I think I will try to push. And the cool thing about this laptop is that it actually has 2 hard drive bays. I have to put that in air quotes because you can, in today's time, you could put an SSD in there. And since it has two, that means you can essentially have one for your OS and the other one for your games, or for anything else. And it would have been sported with a 7200 RPM hard drive, which I guess in terms of hard drives, it's decent. It's good. It also would have had a Wi-Fi card in there, so it would have had a Atheros AR9285, which would have been an 802.11n. So I think it was what, like 600 megabytes a second, or up to. So pretty decent. I mean, some people still use that today, so I think we're good there. It has a built-in Bluetooth. It has a Blu-ray reader. I'll have to verify that to make sure. If it had a battery, then it would have had an 8-cell battery, which would have gone up to 75 watts hour. So decent. Although I can only guess that's probably good for, I think, like 5 hours or so of constant use. And well, that's pretty much it. If you wanted to know how much it was back in the day, its MSRP value was at $1,745. So back in its day, it definitely had a premium price tag for what is essentially, I guess, top of the line for its era. Now, you can pretty much get it on eBay or pretty much anywhere for a fraction of the cost. Though if I had to put a little bit of advice in there, if you do see them for around $500 to $600, I would say really ask the seller what they have in it, because that's a bit expensive for today's time, given that this is a 10 plus year old laptop. So definitely express some caution when shopping for them. I think around $200 to $400 would be good. But yeah, I mean, this laptop is definitely a powerhouse. And when I got it, I actually got it for, I think it was like under $100, simply because, well, as you can tell, it's missing parts. It's missing a backplate, not a backplate as in the bottom, but as in the hinge plate on the back. It's missing that. And of course, it's also missing storage, the brackets for the storage, and it has one stick of RAM in there, so I actually don't know if it's 4 gigabytes or 2 gigabytes, given to what we're dealing with. Plus, I don't even know if the display works, and as far as I know, since we don't have a battery, we also don't have a charger. So part of this project is to wrap up the pieces and see if we can get it up and running. So yeah, I mean, it's a unique design, to say. I actually have it on my bed right now, so I can actually have some reference points here when talking to you guys. But opening it up, the bezels are quite huge, actually. It does have a front-facing camera, though if I had to guess, it's probably a 720 pixel camera. And pretty beefy palm rest. The keyboards are supposedly backlit, but I don't know because we don't have the system running and currently don't have any means to power it. So I would definitely have to acquire those parts before I can continue on with it. And when I received my laptop, I also seen it had some yellow tape around the keyboard, which I only had to assume was to keep it in place during shipping, but I'll have to inspect it further, as I have fixed laptops before that were in much more, I guess, worse condition. But I can already tell you it has a decent sized trackpad, but I don't know how accurate that is or how precise it is. And I see that a lot of the original stickers are on there, and for someone like me, I like to fix laptops and try to keep the originality of them, but if I have to, I'll modify it where it's necessary. Now, some of the things that I have seen in forums and I'm interested in trying out once I know that the system works would be to upgrade the processor and the graphics card that is in there. I've seen that since this laptop has a socketed CPU, which I love, if you've ever had a laptop with a socketed CPU, that it's very similar to like a desktop CPU, where you can just take it out and actually replace it. Now, the one thing that you will need to keep in mind is that if you're making upgrades to the processor, you just have to make sure that it matches the chipset, which in this case, the chipset for this laptop is the Intel HM55. So as long as you can get a not a graphics card, but a processor that can support that chipset, then in theory you should be good. But we'll definitely have to dive right into it first, dive right into eBay, because most other websites today probably don't have any inventory for this thing, so who knows. But yep, thank you guys for watching. This is a unique look on, I guess, the start of a project to restore this laptop and get it up and running. I can't wait to see what it looks like, how it reacts, how it, well, behaves, so to speak. What has 10 years done with this laptop, other than, coming at my doorstep with practically nothing? So, yep, I'll see you guys in the next video of whatever I decide to do, and until then, ta-ta for now.